Considering your reputation as an English teacher in the city, wow, Ms. Smith has quite a reputation. I would like to know your experience of working with adolescents. Rumor has it that you are preparing for IELTS general training and you would like to see some letter samples, right? Then welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing a letter today. Your son is learning a second language at school, but he needs some extra lessons. Write a letter to a teacher asking for help. In your letter, explain why your son needs help. Ask the teacher about her teaching experience and methods. That's interesting that we assume the teacher is a female teacher. And suggest a possible schedule for the lessons. All right. Now, what I understand, we have a son that is learning or who is learning a second language. We don't know what that second language is. And this student, our son, needs some extra lessons. So when we approach the teacher, we need to talk about these lessons. But first, we need to explain the situation. I need to think of a scenario, like why the son needs help. Maybe the scores are lower than expected, or maybe the son, for some reason, couldn't study very well. Maybe his eyes needed a test. So for a period of time, doctor told him not to attend school, or he was able to attend the school, but he wasn't able to read, because you're not allowed to look at a screen while your eyes are being treated. I don't know, things like that. So we need to come up with a scenario, and the scenario needs to be something that we're comfortable with. So you need to pick something. If you don't know about eye test and examination, then don't do that. Maybe your friend was invited to another friend's party, and that friend is living in another city. So for 2 weeks or for 1 week, he was away and he couldn't attend the classes. And now he needs some help to catch up with the rest of the class. You see, if you're comfortable with that scenario and you can come up with some words, like a distant city, and then we bought him some tickets, flight tickets, and then we escorted him to the airport. I don't know, words like that. The birthday party was fun. It was exciting. You see, vocabulary, grammar, any scenario that you feel comfortable with would fit here. Of course, as long as you stay in the framework of the question. Now let's continue. Dear Ms. Smith, I like Ms. This is formal. We are writing a formal letter, by the way. I'm a parent writing this letter, and I'm addressing my son's teacher, or it's just a teacher, maybe a teacher already, or a teacher to be, like later on. But I need to address the lady with proper title, and Ms. is very formal and appropriate for a woman. Smith is a very good name, a very good surname actually. We don't use semicolons here. You either put a comma or nothing. Again, in some British text, it's preferable to put a comma. In some American letters, it's no big deal. You can just leave it as it is, and you don't need any punctuation marks. But make sure once you decide on one element, like you decide to put a comma here, then that's salutation. So in your valediction, you also need a comma. They must match. If you leave out everything and this becomes nothing, there is no punctuation mark. There must be no punctuation mark in the valediction as well. Be mindful of that. And on that note, let's continue our letter. I am writing to find out whether this is formal. You have free time to put into teaching my son. Teach my son some after school English classes. So now we know that this is about an English class, an English course. Good for us. And after school English, so some extra lessons for my son. And it's very straightforward. We don't know this individual. And we don't need to say like, hello, how are you? What's up? What are you doing? What have you been up to? That language doesn't work here. We need to be straightforward and to the point and very respectful at the same time. I need to mention that my son got seriously sick. Oh my God. So the problem in our scenario here is that the son got sick with the coronavirus, with the new coronavirus. Oops, that's not good. About 2 months ago. So according to the health instructions, not heath, health instructions, which have been imposed and strictly enforced by the government. I need either a dash here and here or a bracketing comma here and here. I mean, before the switch and after this government. I believe everybody knows that government strictly government imposes the law and enforces it. So that's the way it is. I also love the words impose and enforce and strict. I like them. Government. He wasn't able to participate in his classes for over a month. Oh, that's sad. You see, I can relate to it. I can communicate with this. So it's something I really love. Now, it's been about, I would have written it has been, because it's a formal letter, but it's fine. It is better to write in full format. It has been about 5 weeks since he restarted going to school, comma, but despite his hard work, another comma, he is worried about being behind in his lessons. Being behind in his lessons, meaning he needs to catch up with the rest of the class. That's a very good first body paragraph. I am introduced to the problem, and I'm convinced that this certain individual, my son, needs help from a teacher. My son, or maybe one of the parents' sons. So if I'm a teacher and I'm looking at this letter that I just received, I know it's from a parent who's worried about his son's or her son's lessons. So he or she has passionately written this letter for me. I feel that. I mean, there is a connection now. This is not just a letter. We are now getting into the areas that this is maybe an 8 or 9 in task achievement. That is how good it is. However, since my son's English exam is due next month, oh wow, this is great. I am looking for a skillful and experienced teacher to prepare him for the test. Now, in the previous paragraph, we talked about what has happened. Now we are going to talk about what should happen in the following days. Considering your reputation as an English teacher in the city, wow, Ms. Smith has quite a reputation. I would like to know your experience of working with adolescents and the methods you utilize to bring up English level of your students in a short time. Good. Since my son is at school on weekdays, my recommended schedule for at least 4 sessions per week is as follows. Oh, and then you also come up with the schedule, which again was the third bullet point. But I really liked the approach. It's like, I know you're a reputable individual. I would like to know how comfortable you are working with adolescents and what methods you will bring to the session. Plus, I already am very interested in hiring you as my son's teacher, and I would like you to also consider my schedule. This is good. This is really good. The connection here, or jumping from this topic to another, may require a little bit more skillful transition, but still, this is good. This is really good. Weekdays, anytime from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Weekends, anytime from 9 a.m. to, yeah, this is fine, to 8 p.m. As time is a big issue here, I am sure you will. I am sure you will answer me as soon as possible. That's maybe it's intended, maybe because it's very pushy. So it's like, give me an answer, come on, fast, and it feels like you're it's good and bad, guys. Let me give you my feeling. I feel like this, if I am the teacher, I'm no Ms. Smith, of course, but if I were the teacher and I received a letter like this, I already feel the desperation in the letter. I don't look at it as pushy. I look at it as a person who cares about his or her son and would really like to use my services, and I can of course charge them handsomely, and at the same time I really understand the urgency. So this is written in a way that it's not just some letter. It's very forward looking. It's a little borderline aggressive. Not aggressive, not bad. Borderline. And the parent is really eager to make this deal happen. I mean, hire me as the teacher for his or her son. Looking forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully. And I don't need the punctuation mark here. 214 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. Okay. Yes, as I told you, this is 8. Maybe just a little more skillful touch, because I like this. It's good. It's very good. It could be 100%. Maybe just a little touch on the methods that you're going to use. Not just asking what methods are you going to use. Maybe come up with 1 or 2 examples. Like, my son used to work with this and that. If you're familiar with this method of teaching, have you passed this course? Are you a certified blah blah teacher? Things like that. Maybe a couple of examples, so that it doesn't look like just I am asking a random question. Are you qualified or not? That is the difference. It's very small, but there's definitely room for improvement here. Coherence, cohesion, totally fine. Really, paragraphing is okay. Again, we're talking about a letter here. Referencing was fine. I told you about one underuse, a transition in the second body paragraph from the topic of methods to the schedule, and it was missed. It actually helped me feel the urgency, like the parent really want to hire Ms. Smith. But I needed a connector from that to the other part. And the information was arranged sequentially, very, very well written. I could understand the progression throughout. I really liked it. This is a 7, well-deserved 7. Maybe a little touch on better, a larger range of vocabulary, a more varied grammatical structures would help us get a higher score. The letter was throughout conservative, very cautious in using what words, in using certain grammatical structures, but making sure they are used accurately. I like that. I like that. And that's why it is rewarded a 7 with very few errors. Very, very few errors. So this is a very good representative. After reading this, I'm 90% sure that the teacher would say yes to the parent and would accept the offer and would like to be the son's teacher. You see how powerful your letters can be as your representatives? So can be your essays and your reports if you're applying for academic module. All in all, I wish you a lovely day ahead.